Children are the most affected when it comes to separation and divorce, but you can still protect their interests through child support and child custody. Free legal advice. Kababayan LA starts right now. Magandang hapon po mga kababayan, kayo po ay nanonood ng kauna-unahan at kaisa-isang pang-araw-araw na produksyon at programa para sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Amerika. Tinutulungan po kayo na makapamuhay ng maayos dito sa Amerika. And of course, when we talk about not just surviving but also thriving here in the U.S., it is important that we understand the law so that we can better protect ourselves. And this afternoon on Kababayan LA, we have two Kababayan lawyers that are joining us, very, very generous with their time because they're essentially going to do give free legal advice a day on the show. Attorney Karina Castañeda is a criminal defense lawyer, and Attorney Manny Ibay is a
family
lawyer, and all the other things. You do other stuff too, right?
Other stuff too, yeah. General civil litigation. But we're here to talk about family law today, so I can put that hat on.
And when we talk about family law, of course, normally the first thing that comes to mind is divorce. We need you for divorce or separation or prenup. But then at the same time, you know, we don't want that happening to couples. But then realities set in, and we can't help. Sometimes some couples really get a divorce. But then it's the children that are most affected. What are your thoughts on that, Karina? Being a mom yourself.
Well, I mean, just like I said, the whole idea of having no financial support. So it's really critical. And Manny and I agree on this, that they need to go into court and get a custody order, get a visitation order. I have a case where the police will not do anything, okay, unless there's a custody order or a visitation order in place. Let's say the dad decides to take the kids, you know, out of state, out of the country without the mom's knowledge. If there's no custody order, the dad can do that.
It is very important, and most important is that they have to get started right away. Unfortunately, somebody came into my office a couple weeks ago, and she was all excited because she said, oh, you know, he's doing really well, and I can get some money from him, and I've just been slow about doing this, but, you know, my kids are 15 and 14, and I'd like to be able to get all the child support for the last 15 years that I missed.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, you know, I had to tell her, I said, well, you know, it only starts when you file the paperwork with the court. So if there are people out there that are thinking about it or, you know, weighing in on this stuff, you got to do it right away, because every month, I mean, you could be losing $1,000 to $2,000 a month by waiting.
Right. At yan po ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Talk Tuesday, after all, on Kababayan LA. That means our phone lines are open. So if you have any questions about family law, and later on we'll relate it to criminal prosecution, how it's related, that's the number to call on the screen, because you can go after, make criminal element to family cases like this.
Absolutely.
Karina, what are those?
You know, it's actually, there's a lot of public policy support. There's federal and state law saying that, you know, that there's a Deadbeat Parent Punishment Act that was signed by President Clinton in 1998. You know, and then there's a state law in California, and it used to be under the district attorney's office. It's Penal Code Section 270. So they can go after you and put you in jail if you fail to pay child support.
And I think that's what happened not too long ago with the brother of Michael Jackson. Remember when he was out of the country and he couldn't be let back in because his passport expired, and then when he was renewing, they found out he hadn't been paying child support, correct?
There's a lot of mechanisms, especially if your child support's being enforced by the Department of Children's Services and child support. They can, you know, suspend your driver's license, suspend your professional license. You're a doctor, you're a nurse, you're a pilot. They can pull all that. They can not renew your passport. They can put a lien in your house. I mean, a lot of
things. And speaking of some high-profile cases, we see a lot of these celebrity divorces, and even they have do you think they have more problems than regular people because they have more money and they have more things to talk about, to discuss?
More problems?
Right?
Well, it just becomes enhanced or bigger, right? Because, you know, TMZ's around the corner.
Right, yeah.
Or, you know, the TV cameras around the corner, right?
So let's talk about, what are your thoughts on Salma Hayek's husband, Francois Pinault? and Linda Evangelista is going after him for
Right.
child support.
Well, first of all, I can't understand why anybody would want to go away from Selma Hayek, but, everybody's got their
He's not going
preferences.
away, I think. That's why he picked her, I think. But then Linda got pregnant and essentially bore him a child, and now Linda wants child support. But I think it's an absurd amount. Is it like 49?
Well, she wanted $46,000.
$46,000 a month?
Well, $46,000, yes, per
Okay.
month. But she filed the papers in New York, and in New York they have a rule that you basically the person paying child support would pay 17% of his income.
Okay.
And although his family's luxury goods empire is worth anywhere from $16 to $18 billion, he personally makes only $5.4 million. So 70% of that is somewhere in the $900,000 range, or about $65,000-$70,000 a month.
Okay.
So what she's asking for is actually below
right.
what they would do.
And so how do you think will the courts decide on this?
Well, right now it's considered to be, it would be the highest child support award in New York. At least that's what they're talking about.
Right.
I don't see why they wouldn't give it to her, and
It's still pretty reasonable.
Yes, and instead of having to spend all the money, the reason that these cases seem overblown is because, I get cases all the time that are similar, and they're simple because there's so little money to fight over that the lawyers don't really try that hard to dispute all the items. But then once there are millions involved, then lawyers are picking at every single little thing to try to raise the money and try to, make money here and there.
And see, that's where the problem lies. Some people are saying, do you lawyer up or not anymore, because then the lawyers might just prolong because you're paying them by the hour, or do you, these different things also, and you don't want your kids subjected to that kind of torture, essentially ripping the kids apart. We're going to be talking about that when we return on Kababayan LA, and also taking your phone calls. If you have any questions, this is your lucky day, because they will give you free legal advice on what to do about your divorce, separation, child custody, child support, and that's all today on Kababayan LA. Don't go away.